Okay, this is the September 20th. I see where you put the wrong date up here. Yes. September 20th meeting of the Flood and Erosion Control Board. I am reading that it is now 7:05. I'm calling the meeting to order. This is Becky Bunnell, Chair, and let's go around and see who else is here.
Don Lamberti, Vice Chair.
And I'm Dick Mahusky, I'm the Secretary.
And is anyone on the phone?
We see nobody who has called in.
However, with 3, we do have a quorum, so I will continue the meeting.
Okay.
So our first item of business is to hear, consider, and act upon the minutes of August 16th, 2022 meeting. Does anyone have any comments or amendments that they would like to make for the record?
No.
I have no comments, and I submit that we approve these minutes as submitted.
Okay. Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. These minutes are now approved and can be put in as final minutes. Okay. Our next agenda item is to review our written request to the POCD group. I had sent. Thank you all, by the way, for getting comments back to me. I got everyone's comments. I tried my best to make everyone's comments. And so this document is the one I'd like to send out, unless there are any further amends that we would like to make. So can I ask for any changes or edits that anyone would like to see?
Okay. This is Dick Mahusky. I commend the chairwoman on putting this letter together, and I looked at it and see where you made the adjustments, considering Mr. Wiswell's comment and Mr. Landino's comment. So the only thing I would have to comment and suggest adding is at the end, you say that this letter was approved at the 9/20/22 meeting of the FECB where a quorum was present.
Okay, so just say add.
Just add that line right before you say on behalf of Flood and Erosion Control Board, just to put in writing that we, the board has looked at it and approves it as here.
I can add that.
Then the only other question I have is, should we copy Adam Texa, who is the FHI lead person, project manager? I'm not sure of his title.
Probably. Do you have his contact?
I could get his contact, or we could just let Dave Murphy and Emmeline.
I assumed that Dave Murphy was our point person working with Adam.
Dave Murphy was hired by FHI.
Yeah, so I assumed that he was our point person.
I think that's sufficient.
But I am happy to do Adam if we would prefer.
Okay.
And we also know Dave, which doesn't mean you don't copy Adam.
Exactly.
But I know Dave is.
Let me look up his.
If you can find it easily, I'd like to get this out since we've waited now 2 meetings for.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But if you can get it, why don't we?
So
I'm happy to add.
Adam Teczza.
Oh, okay.
Teczza.
If you can get his email,
I will.
I'm happy to add him.
I mean, but you can, for purposes of the letter, you can just put his name on the letter.
Yeah.
So I would. That's the only comment I have. I think it's great, and I
have 2 comments.
Approve.
I have 2 comments. Okay, one on
Prove has just joined us on the phone.
Hi. I'm so sorry. I thought you guys were.
Watch. Where are you?
I'm actually in Sullivan Independence Hall, and I went upstairs, and I'm sorry to interrupt the meeting like this, but I have an emergency. I have to host the Board of Finance meeting because they didn't have anyone to do it.
That's okay, because we're over in the Old Town Hall starting our meeting with the 3 of us who are the only ones who showed up here.
So we'll go ahead and take our minutes.
Oh, do you want me to take the minutes from the recording? Well, you can talk to me later about it.
No, we'll do the minutes.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
You can do the recording if you want. It's up to you.
We'll talk offline. Go take care of those.
Go do your Board of Finance.
People who are out of control.
All right. So yes, thank you. I agree. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
All right. We'll talk later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay. Becky, I'd like to congratulate you. Excellent letter. It's a lot of work. Very difficult. On page 2, item 3, It's about flooding, had potential to experience flooding such as Samp Water, Mill River. Who was that? Remember you and I being up to that lady up there in Greenfield Hill where there had flooding? Could we add that to it?
That was
Well,
up the Mill River, right?
Yeah, that's Mill River.
That's why I put that in.
That's a Mill River tributary.
That's why I put that in.
Okay, I was late. Okay,
So that
fair enough.
Parts of St. Mortar and Mill River.
I mean, I assume when I say Mill River that we understand its tributaries.
St. Mortar and the Mill River watershed. We could add the word watershed, which includes all of the little tributaries
Okay.
that come down to the Mill River.
Okay, let's say St. Mortar and the Mill River watershed.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I like that.
That captures it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then down at the bottom of the page, item C, support all additional towns in low income. I have to tell you, that section 80 or 8-30G, whatever.
Yep.
The low income is destroying this town.
But that's housing.
Yep.
This has nothing to do with that.
That's low income, but that's the wedge that gets them going. I'm opposed to that.
No, let me tell you, the
This
830G is
not
housing.
connected
This
to
is
830G.
actually a state mandate that 40% of all grant funds go towards low income. So we have to do that.
I still don't like it.
This is no, but Don, this is to support existing low-income properties. It's not to establish new properties.
Yeah, it's not to put new low-income properties in. It's just basically to say the low-income properties that happen to be in floodplains who can't afford stuff, the state's already mandated that 40% of the money goes to them. We're just saying we agree.
This is for confirmed, I would say parenthetically, existing low-income households.
You put the word existing in there.
It's not to put new low-income housing in. Let me see if I can put existing in or something like that to reflect the fact that we're not trying to put.
I find the whole thing obscene. I really do.
Right, but that's 830G. That's not this.
That's a whole different.
It's not this.
And you're not alone. You're not alone in that opinion. I don't think.
Yeah,
we're just doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong.
Well, the newest thing we just did, where we're doing we bought a property, we're doing 4 low-income housing.
Yeah,
with
that's
Habitat.
great.
That's exactly
great.
what we should be
that's
doing.
Perfect. That's over near the old Caldors.
Yeah, we should be doing that.
Yes,
That's exactly the way we should be doing
exactly. it. That's wonderful.
Yeah, but what we've got is we've got a
little
lot of,
townhouse.
Yeah, but we've got a lot of developers who want to just throw up really.
They can't make money with those little things.
But we don't need to make money. This is about
they do,
supporting.
but they do.
We don't need them.
No,
Anyway.
We're singing to the crowd.
All right, so let me just recap what we're doing. We're adding the following edits. This letter was approved at the 9/20/22 Flood Erosion Control Board meeting. We're adding Adam Teska to the CC list and email. We are changing page 2, item 3 to St. Mortar and the Mill River watershed to include so it's clear that we're including the tributaries. And we're going to add some language around item C on the low income to existing housing.
I'll go along, but I don't like it. It's obscene. And then
different topic.
just item 6 at the last page. We overt program expanding connecting greenways. What are you thinking? What are you talking about for that?
So basically, we've got a lot of open space, which is great. I think our town is really blessed to have so much open space. And the more you can connect those open spaces, the more you can have areas where the water can sink in. So it's always good to have, more open space and connecting the open space so that you can have it acts as a flood prevention.
Where would you connect it to? I'm trying to think what.
I don't know. I mean,
just to create a larger detention area, for instance. If you have a tributary running through an open field and the pitch is flat, that would detain some water during a rainstorm. Now, if you had a little hillock and another flat place over the hillock, but it didn't have the tributary running through it, perhaps you could make a little gully connecting this open space with that open space and expand the local floodplain.
So you have no particular area?
There's no particular area in mind.
A general
concept. The concept of the more open spaces that are connected that can detain water, the better off we are.
Okay, it doesn't reference any particular.
No, I actually haven't done the homework to look at what we would do, but I think the concept is what I'm trying to get across.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
Okay, so with those edits.
And then the last thing, just to add the sentence about this was approved at our meeting today.
Yeah. With those edits, is everyone do I have a motion to approve?
Yes, I
with those edits?
will reintroduce my motion to approve this as edited.
Okay, second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, this will now go out, hopefully tomorrow, assuming we get Adam's email, and if not, we can still send it out, and I'll send Adam's email.
Again, very good job, Becky.
Thank you.
That's getting one thing moving.
Gotta get that out, yes. All right, our next item of business is a discussion on the evolving plans for the Penfield Pavilion. So, Dick and I had a brief meeting with Tom Bremer and Eli, who is one of the new engineers, who is nice to have on board. He seems very together and with it. It was very heartening to see that we've got more resources in the engineering department.
And I had his name written down here, and I can't find it now. His name is Elias, and I want to say Garza, but I'm sure that's not correct. Anyway, yeah, he's one of the new engineers that's
the Laura replacement.
Well, they've got three. They have Mega Jane, who was here when Laura was here, and now they have 3 additional engineers. I believe they're all male. Elias is a project engineer, and the other 2 gentlemen are senior civil engineers. So we got Bill Hurley, Mega Jane, these other 2 gentlemen whose names are somewhere, who are senior civil engineers, and then Elias.
He's going to be like a project manager.
He's a project manager. Project manager, I guess is the title. Yeah. And Bill, so he's got
so many projects going.
He's got some wherewithal, and Elias goes by Eli. So Eli sat in on the meeting we had with Tom Bremer about Penfield, because Penfield is his job.
Big issue
to shepherd.
So I'll start with recapping, and Dick and I will tag team this because he and I were both there. Our intent was to share with Tom, learn from Tom what we were doing with the Penfield Pavilion, and my intent at least was to share 2 things. One is that I wanted us to go back and re-examine the grade issue, because I thought 8 feet was not the existing grade as we started construction, and my belief is that you need to go back to existing grade at start of construction as per the A1 survey.
Right.
Tom's response to that is, ship has sailed, FEMA is not budging, and I need to move this through, and 8 is going to be what we have to live with. So that was unfortunate.
Can we live with it? That's the question. 8 foot? It's not much.
It's not much.
I'm not sure we can live with it.
There's no choice.
There's no choice.
The regulators have made the determination. We went back to that well twice.
Dick brought many documents that showed that the original grade was higher than 8 feet.
Yeah, and these are all FEMA. FEMA makes, the way I read their documents, they make a good case that this was the historical grade. Now, what I don't know is, where do you put that line in the sand that say this is the history limit?
What's the
was
history
it 1982?
Yeah, what's the date that you did?
1865?
They felt that when we put that wooden, what they call flood control structure in, we changed the grade erroneously. So they're saying you have to go back before that, and what would it have been before that?
Because that payback time.
Because that built the grade up.
One of the questions I have, I asked Eli, and Bill said he would look at that. I asked him to find the original construction plans from when we built this new pavilion in 2010 or 2009. Because that was when we took the old Sunhaven Pavilion and knocked it down and built the new pavilion. And I'm hopeful that there will be an existing site plan in that set of drawings. That's a typical drawing that you develop. Okay, this is what I have today. So perhaps that existing site plan will have some topographic measurements of what the grade was. And I would submit, gentlemen, that's the historical grade, because we put the pavilion there in 1905, and it sat there, and the natural grade has developed from 1905 to 2009, whenever they did it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I mean, I don't know if there's any room to go back, but let's at least explore that option.
And if not, if we if we have to say, yep, the historical grade is 8 to 9 feet, so we're going to put our new grade beam 5 feet lower than the existing grade beam. So the new grade beam will be at 5 feet, which is 3 feet below the natural
I thought the grade
grade.
beam could be at grade. It has to be below?
Our town regulations say that the grade beam needs to be 5 foot. I haven't looked.
Well, we're not living
But
by our
it
town
needs to-
regulations because we're not doing 50%
No,
construction
it needs
costs
to
either.
be below the surface so that you allow for some scour.
How much?
I'd have to read technical bulletin 5 again to see what the language is.
We should go.
But they want it below the grade.
Okay. So that was basically a non-negotiable in Tom's mind.
Yeah.
The other thing we, at least I went in at wanting, and I think we both wanted, was to explore the option of raising it a foot so that it complied with FEMA's current regulations. And the reason for that is, assuming we get another big superstorm Sandy, I know you don't believe in sea level, but let's say we got sea level rise. Let's just say it did happen. Yeah. Why would we want to, as a town, incur the costs of redoing the floors, redoing the drywall, redoing, a foot's worth of drywall and floors every time this happens? And this is supposed to happen more and more frequently, according to CERCA.
I don't buy that either.
A Superstorm Sandy every 5 years. While we're doing this construction, to raise it a foot. And basically his response was, FEMA's not making us, so why incur the cost?
Right.
And that's unfortunate because it's now going to incur future costs to the point where we're.
And what I didn't understand until the conversation with Tom is that their vision of removing the grade beam and the contaminated soils that are under the pavilion is they're just going to take one limited bay at a time, shore that up on either side, dig a trench down there, getting the old grade beam off of the existing piles and going down to whatever elevation and putting the new grade beam there, resupporting that bay of the building, and then moving to another bay of the building. So, as Eli said, as you're driving by from the road, the building will never look different. It'll always just sit there where it sits now. All the little digging and replacing will be done underneath.
I vote just remove it and get rid of it.
Yeah, well.
They've made that call.
Well, you can go to the next public meeting on the topic and say whatever you want to say. But from our conversation, they've got this plan in place. They think FEMA will be okay with it, and they're just going to go.
Yeah.
So the other issues we raised were a couple. We said that we want to make sure that we don't compromise our current deep approved engineered beach profiles.
Right.
And the engineered beach profiles show that the profile near the pavilion is a little over 10 feet, about 10 feet.
Yep.
So we're now going to have an engineered beach that goes up to 10 feet, and then it'll sink down to 8, go under the building. and we said, that's okay. I'd rather have that, because natural sand progression might just have some of that sand move under the building, but that's just natural.
That's natural.
But the last thing we want to do is compromise the engineered beaches and have to take our beaches down to 8 feet.
Right.
So I asked them to be very careful how they approach that and to keep our engineered beaches as engineered beaches. I'm not sure what the town will choose to do, but I strongly believe that we need to not compromise our engineered beach grade profiles. And I think that needs to go in a written letter to them as well. The last thing, what was the last thing we talked about was where the playground currently sits.
At the pavilion.
At the pavilion. We don't believe that pavilion, the playground ties to the pavilion. It actually ties to Jackie Durrell. So we were saying that in order not to have to take that wall down, that should tie. If that ties to Jackie Durrell, we then can leave the playground as is. So we suggested that because otherwise FEMA's basically making us take the whole wall in front of the pavilion down.
Well, Tom, I'm unclear on that,
No, it's very
Because
close.
Tom wants to leave that wall there as is.
No, but FEMA's gonna make us take it down. It's above 8 feet.
I
It becomes a
don't-
flood control structure.
I don't know, I didn't hear that.
I heard that.
Okay.
I mean,
I hope you're wrong, but
I hope I'm wrong too.
you might not be.
I mean, I would,
No, the
he's
whole
gonna leave
thing.
the playground wall where it is, but the wall in front of the pavilion, which is roughly.
Oh,
the
yeah,
same
yeah,
height
yeah,
as
yes, yes,
Yeah.
right.
He
So-
wants to leave the playground wall as is.
Right, yes, that's
And
what
the
I'm saying.
rationale that we're gonna do for that is that the playground is part of Jackie Durrell. It's not part of this Penfield.
Well, that was our sort of
Yes.
ploy.
Yes.
But the other thing, the wall in front of the pavilion, if you take the wall in front of the pavilion down to the parking lot grade, or maybe the parking lot needs to go down the 2 feet of fill that we put there up near the pavilion. So how are
it'll be
you
below the road?
going
How would FEMA make the
deliver
parking lot below the road?
How are you going to deliver the supplies to the pavilion? How are you gonna get the handicapped people up
Oh,
to
you'll
the
have
pavilion?
ramps.
Yeah, well, the ramps, don't the ramps have to sit on a wall?
No?
You're gonna have
Piles?
the ramps
Piles?
on sticks?
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess you could.
yeah.
It's
Anyway,
Okay.
it's a mess.
it's a very unfortunate situation. I personally believe FEMA is being unreasonable, and
Yep.
I'm not sure there's a lot we
As
can
does
do.
everyone in the town, I would expect.
I think there's not a lot we can do. So if we
Yeah.
decide, and I believe the town and Brenda has decided to proceed with the pavilion as is, and this looks like this is their plan. So I think the only things we can do are mitigate the areas where we think we can mitigate, keep the engineered beaches, keep the Durrell playground, and wall existing if we can, and just, we're gonna end up building a wall along the street, is what we're gonna do with a flood
Yeah.
barrier.
But will they allow us to do that? There's flood structure.
Don't know, well, but that's back from the shoreline, see?
Yeah.
Flood and erosion control structure on the shoreline is like,
Right.
that's no good. We would have to send that for review by the DEEP, the water,
And
coastal
the
water.
Fairfield Beach Club will be our test of this. 'Cause
Right,
that
that's
is-
right.
We're doing that first, and if they approve that, how can they not approve it in front of the pavilion?
Well, are they going ahead with that one? I haven't heard about that.
So that's our next, next agenda item. So we just wanted to fill you in on what our understanding as it stands today of the Penfield Pavilion plan.
But the idea of putting that letter together with all this in it is
yeah.
absolutely necessary, so.
Yes, so I think
You wanna take a stab at that and send it around
I will send it
on
around.
email for
Yeah.
comment?
Yeah, will do.
And maybe we can get that done quicker than we've gotten the POCD
Like to
done.
get it done, approval by email, not wait a month.
Yeah,
I think we don't have a month here. All right, moving on to the next agenda item, update on current projects. So to your point on Fairfield Beach Club, we are moving ahead with plans on that, and they are in the process of designing what that would look like. I think did he say Race was doing that?
that's my understanding. We need to sit down with Bill and find out what's going on.
Yeah, he seems to have given Race a lot of stuff. The other thing he's given Race is to relook at the whole Riverside Drive open space down through the marina to tie into Jennings. What would that look like? He's asked Race to look at the engineered beaches in light of the Penfield structure, because Race is doing a lot of the Penfield work. So Race is doing quite a few of these projects.
Who's paying for this?
Yeah, Race is working for Tom Bremer, Eli, on the Penfield stuff.
Where are they getting the money for all this?
Well, the Beach Club was approved in the budget last year, so that's in the budget. So it's just a study at this point to see what that would be. The Riverside Drive, I believe didn't they say they got a grant for that?
I'm not, that's where I'm just not sure.
I'm not sure where that is, but it sounded like that was happening.
So as far as projects go, I had written this to Tim Bishop, who's the head link of all the tide gates. And
Did he send you some
I
stuff
just copied Becky on this initially.
Oh.
And I started looking and saying, okay, because tide gates are our first line of defense in my mind, and we need to keep those up and vibrant and scab on the 2 feet to what the elevation might otherwise be to prepare for the future. So I made this listing asking Tim to get back to us with what the status is. And that prompted that I need to go and resurrect from from like September 28, 21. So a year ago, we had recast the project list with listing all the projects.
Sure.
And I'm going to go back to that and update that. I'll talk to Bill Hurley, see what's what, and then send that around for information and comment. Because there's like when I looked at the tide gate thing, I added up all these little projects, and that's $7.5 million worth of tide gate projects. And it's like, come on, because it would be really embarrassing to have a hurricane come and 2-year-old projects sitting there, with nothing being done on them, and the tide gates failed. So that prompted me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to regird my loins and get that project list up to date.
Thought they were in trouble with that railroad bridge tide gate.
So that actually Race is working on, and they have a good solution on that one.
Really?
Yeah. So
the SHPO has accepted the solution.
So they're basically going to move the bridge,
But we told
truncate it. No, we are. They agreed to.
We're going to do it different.
We're going to
We're gonna chop
truncate
it
it
in
and
pieces.
kind of chop it a little bit, move it closer to the ball field. And then that allows us then to move the tide gate in a more direct path,
Sure.
which is what they wanted to do.
everything.
So it'll still kind of look like a bridge. It'll just be truncated and narrowed, I think.
Yeah, because they're gonna have the 2 side trusses with cross beams on it, and it's going to be sitting on 3 concrete pedestals.
Okay.
And they'll have 5 gates instead of 3. They have actually, I think they've got the permit is approved for, DEEP has approved the permit, and Army Corps, last we talked, Army Corps had not approved, but we talked with them, that was back in late July, so Army Corps may have approved by
What
now.
does the Historical Society say about this?
Well, that's SHPO.
They said okay.
They said okay.
They agreed that was the long time stumbling block. And
So basically we have a
agreed.
plan.
Okay.
The other thing is we've got Perry's Green is progressing.
Good, okay.
They've taken all the borings for that. We should be seeing something this month. We should have seen it actually at the end of August, but I'm assuming there'll be another meeting where they're going to propose what kind of structures they're going to put in, whether they're going to replace or redo with wooden. So it's metal right now, sheet tile. And they're going to look at both and then come back with a recommendation and costs. And we're supposed to have seen that end of August in early September. It's now
Sounds good.
latest September, so I would expect to be seeing that soon.
We should be seeing something.
And I think that they're going to include the whole group on that. There's the Historical Society, there's the Sasquatch Society, there's many people who were interested in
The Harbor Commission.
Yeah. GZA is doing the Ash Creek BCA, and they're doing all 3 of the BCAs, so it's the Ash Creek one. They're also doing a benefit cost analysis to look at tying the solar farm, basically, area over to, through the marshes, basically, to Sasco. And the third thing they're looking at, I think, was the BCA for the Ash Creek open space down to the marina. So that's GZA is looking at those to see whether we have a positive benefit cost analysis to proceed on those.
Are they working for Bill on that?
They're working for Bill. It's a Circa grant. So we should be seeing those soon. So I don't know where those BCAs are, but.
And then the other Circa thing that's happening is looking at the railroad underpasses to how to mitigate the flooding under there. So I guess Dave Murphy seemed a little surprised that isn't farther along, or they haven't started, or something.
I don't think they've done anything yet on that.
No.
Although they might have by now, but, and then the things that are, Rooster River is had a little bit of a stumbling block. They had to go back and redo one of the sections, but I believe that is back on track at this point.
Redo them based on deep comments?
Yeah, I think it was deep comments, wasn't it? I think it was deep that commented on it.
And then the other Rooster River related thing is the Synop property on Villa Avenue. That was the purchase of that property was before the RTM last night, and it was approved. So
and what was
that's going.
Interesting about that is when I went back and reread the initial Rooster River, the recommendation was not to buy that property.
That's a marginal value. But a bird in the hand is worth.
I know, but $400,000. Would you rather have spent that on something else?
But
it's not going to really alleviate flooding.
That'll help the Rooster River a little bit because there's going to be a little bit of detention there. But my take on it is it's going to primarily benefit all the people over on Algonquin, the low point of the neighborhood to the north of that property, because they flood.
The north, wouldn't it to the people to the south of it?
Algonquin's. I'm thinking of Villa Avenue. I'm thinking of Brooklawn or Stratfield Road going north to south, and Villa Avenue coming into that east to west. Yeah. So the Synop property is out the north side of Villa Avenue, and the flooding properties are beyond that, over on Algonquin.
That's right. Okay, all right.
Because after Villa Avenue, it just goes on the north side of Villa Avenue. It goes into a culvert that goes underneath the property and discharges right into the Mill River. So there's one property between the south side of Villa Avenue and the Rooster River. Did I say Mill River? Rooster River.
Right. Okay. The one project that the two projects that have gotten no traction, they have not even started the high intensity wave action study, RFP. They haven't even started that. So I offered to do a draft of it if that would be helpful. I think that Bill is leaning towards just giving it to Race because they're doing the Penfield evaluation. I think they're doing some Ash Creek evaluation, and so his feeling is that they're already doing so much that you might as well just have them do that too. But I feel this should go out for a formal RFP because I think Race.
The peninsula is a different animal than.
Well, I think he doesn't see this as
beaches.
A peninsula. That's why we need to align on what the RFP is.
That needs conversation.
Yeah, I think that's what I think needs to. So I think by writing the RFP for him, it will engage in the conversation that we really are talking about with this high intensity wave action. I envision something like Hepburn Hills, but maybe a little stronger of Hill.
Well, that's why I set that around. I keep looking at these things. And
it's intermittent breakwaters.
That's intermittent breakwaters.
So we're going to call it Hill.
Yeah.
We just need to use different language.
Yes.
But I'm not sure that those are above high water.
No, that
may have been a low water view when you see those hills.
I don't.
Anyway. And the other thing that stalled completely is the Fairfield Beach Road elevation study. It's completely stalled.
Mm-hmm.
The surveyors have been pulled onto other projects, so we're going to sort of try to keep that on the list, but right now that's not the priority. So that's all I'm aware of for current projects.
Yeah,
anything else, or should we move on to the next? All right, so additional business that may come before the board, I have two items. The first item is that Tony Huang has gotten really excited about resiliency. I don't know. He came to the Fairfield Beach Residents Association meeting where we had a speaker, Dave Pogue, talking about climate change issues, and he had also come from another meeting where he had met Rob LaFrance, who is from the Audubon Society, who had been doing a talk on the reef ball project in Stratford, and he says, we have to do a reef ball project. And I'm saying, Tony, Tony, listen to me. We need to do resilience projects. We need to do the right resilience project for our thing. So he decided that he's going to like focus the town on resiliency. He's very excited about it. He has set up a
Why
meeting.
doesn't he go talk to the Coastal Caucus people?
He set up a meeting. This is his way of showing his commitment. And he's asked me to speak. He wants Gail Robinson from Ash Creek to speak, and then he's getting Rob LaFrance from Audubon to speak. It's set up for September 28th to go speak.
Where is this?
It's going to be at it's going to be at the middle school somewhere in town. I can't remember which middle school. I will send the information as soon as I have it from him. He's trying to get Rebecca French from Deep to come speak, and his goal is to get awareness among the town for resilience. Unfortunately, Brenda is not able to come, so she's making poor Tim Bishop come from Conservation and probably make Bill Hurley come, who already know all of this stuff. So the people that need to hear this won't even be there. But Tony's very excited, and I'm glad to have someone who is in
publicity.
This
is good.
Be on our side on this. This is a very important topic to him, and I think we need to encourage as much as possible our local elected representatives to push for us getting funding. He says we've got to push to get our share of the IRA money and the IIJA money and all of these.
But it's also about the regulations.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, where are you
we can have all the
me?
money in the world, and what are you going to do with it?
Well, that's
plant marsh grass.
So what I told him is that where you can really
gate.
help me is work with Deep
to,
loosen their restrictions.
It's the legislature. The legislature.
Well, he's in the legislature. He can do this.
That's why I say Coastal Caucus, because the
Coastal Caucus can't really do anything because they're an informational only.
No, they're a bipartisan commission group. Caucus.
They're a caucus.
They can introduce legislation to the
environmental committee.
Yeah, okay. It's got to go through committee?
Yeah, and she's, one of the co-chairs is the head of the environmental committee, so that's good.
But the legislature has to say, hey, we love all the frogs, but people count too. So let's protect our infrastructure. There's a provision in the Coastal Management Act that says you can't build hard flood and erosion control structures on the coastline, except when they're protecting when they're protecting residences that were built before. And it says 1983 in one spot, but I swear I saw something that said 1995. So if you can build a coastal flood and erosion control structure to protect residents that was built before 1995, our floodplain has a whole lot of them.
A bunch of them.
I gotta believe it's more than 50%.
Right.
Well,
so
when
why
you say
can't we build a reinforced dune?
Let me ask a question. Do they consider built, if you do a renovation, does that change the date of when that house was built?
If it was a substantial improvement, it probably does.
Yeah, because we've had a lot of substantial improvements.
Yeah, big problems.
It is a problem.
No, maybe not.
But you know what? This is where we maybe need legal counsel.
It's worth investigating.
Yeah. So the question is, does a substantial improvement change?
So is Tony Huang's Resilience Forum going to be simply Fairfield invitees or Fairfield and Westport? Doesn't he have Westport also?
He has Westport, but he's actually inviting Ganem because Ash Creek is there and that goes into Bridgeport. So I don't think he's inviting the Westport people.
See, that's a mistake because he's their state senator too, you know?
Yeah. So that was my first additional business. The second additional business is, I don't think we're ready to approve it yet, but the resilience letter, we need to start to think about tightening that up. I'd like to have that be on our next agenda for approval. So if we could start to get comments on the resilience.
Right. I think this is great. Becky just sent me a copy of that. You just sent it to me, right?
Oh, I thought I sent it to everyone. Did I?
I don't,
Yeah,
did you get it?
I have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought I sent it
Oh,
to
okay.
reply
I
all.
saw
to
it
whoever
today, yeah.
got it, yeah.
Yep.
Then I read it wrong. All right, so I think this is great. My note on the top says send it. I have a couple of comments here. I can put these in the document and email them to you.
Perfect. Why don't we get, if I can get your two comments back, I'll reach out to Peter and Paul and get their comments. It'd be nice to get that out as well. And that's all I had for additional business.
Yeah, because this resiliency fund, that's just a smart thing to do. It kind of shows all the residents that we're putting our money where our mouth is, getting ready to avoid these long delays and getting something done, because with a few people, as long as it's for the limited purposes that are stated in the public act, then we're good to go, and it's all above board, and I think it's great.
Two comments here.
Yeah.
On this document here, the second page, third paragraph down, you talk about it puts risk in millions of dollars reduction in annual tax. Can you put down like it's 10% of the tax base or something? Would that be, say the floodplain is 10% of the tax base or something like that?
Well, did we ever get a final number? We were working with Mega on that. Where did we go with that?
I have to look at it again. I have a it's about this, but
approximately 10-15%.
It should actually, if it's 15% of our housing stock, it's probably 20% of our tax.
Yeah, it's a big number. Let people know it.
But
because you'd think that these are the more, Greenfield Hills has a lot of expensive houses.
Yeah. And the other item here is you took the taxes. How about flood insurance is going up? It keeps going up down there. My flood, I'm grandfathered in. I pay about $2,500 a year, and every year it goes up about 10% or something like that.
Yeah.
But if I sell my house, the next person pays over $6,000 a year.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the flood insurance is a big item too. You have to worry about.
Well, and that's one of the.
That's one of the reasons that we need to make FEMA happy.
I'm just trying to think of whether FEMA can take away our community rating system, or they can suspend the whole flood insurance program for our whole town. That doesn't sound quite fair.
I heard that they could take away the community rating because we.
Yeah, right. That I think is a good
grabs. Yeah.
Which is a 10% reduction on flood insurance. So if you look at everyone's flood insurance and suddenly bump 10% on it, that's a lot of money.
$6,000 item. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And the thing, and the difference is, what the new regulations are trying to push is they're trying to push people like you to take your house and lift it up, so when the flood comes, it won't get damaged. So
yes, they do.
That's fine.
But I suggest adding flood insurance to that paragraph, or
I'll find
like
some
that.
way to, those are big fields. And Dick, just send me your comments.
Yeah.
If you can just Xerox them or whatever. Is there any additional business that may come before the board that anyone else has?
No. I move to adjourn.
just a comment. We had I think the wastewater treatment plant berm is coming to finality, and it's going to be done. The Connecticut Association of Floodplain Managers had a tour of that last Wednesday. Don and I went.
Did you go to it?
To that, yeah.
It was good. It was interesting.
I meant to go. I wasn't around, or otherwise I would have gone too.
So, I have nothing else, and with that, I would make a motion.
Well, actually, I attended the GC3 Resilient Infrastructure with Nature-Based Solutions Working Group. So I don't know if you guys are aware, the Governor's Council on Climate Change has had a bunch of working groups, and they just convened a new one called the GC3 Infrastructure with Nature-Based Solutions Working Group, Resilient Infrastructure. And Matt Fulda, who is our MetroCog point person, I think is one of the co-chairs of that. But it was interesting. So I'm going to be sitting in on that, and I'll be able to feed back to this group anything that comes out of that. But what was good about that is the amount of money that is going to be coming forward in grants is significantly increasing. So, for example, the FEMA brick building resilient communities program, we used to get 25 million in funds. With the IRA, it's
the state?
Yeah, it's 2.3 billion is now available.
Ooh.
Billion.
For Connecticut?
I think that's total, but it was 25 million total before, now it's 2.3 billion. So we're talking about
okay.
100 times
substantially
bigger.
more
Yeah. Wow.
money being now available to apply for. So we need to probably be working closely with Terry Brown, who is our grant writer or grant coordinator, I guess, for the town of Fairfield, to make sure that we're on top of applying for all these, because if we're not, shame on us.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of the deadlines.
But the corollary is we need some shovel-ready projects that are fleshed out just a little bit to make sense.
And
when they go in
that's
the
where some of these
application.
resilience funds
Yeah.
come, is you can
Yeah.
do the studies. And so
Yep.
we're so behind on all of our studies. Like, it would be nice to have had the Ash Creek Open Space ready by now. It would have been nice to have had the Fairfield Beach Club ready by now, shovel ready, because those would all be things we can apply for.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to really keep pushing on these projects so that we have a pipeline of shovel-readies that we can apply for. Anyway, that was my last thing. Otherwise, I will now accept the motion to
Okay,
adjourn.
then I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second the motion?
Okay, we are now adjourned. Thank you very much. It is
I will end the recording at
7:50.
7:50.
Very good.